There are moments when something feels wrong, but you can't explain why. You step into a room and sense that something has moved, but everything looks the same. You hear a noise in an empty house and convince yourself it's nothing. You wake up in the middle of the night, feeling like someone is watching you, but no one is there. At least that's what you tell yourself. Some things hide in plain sight, waiting. And the worst part? Sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones keeping the darkest secrets. I used to believe I knew my family. I thought I understood the people around me, but I didn't. And by the time I finally uncovered the truth, it was already too late. My sister and I cared deeply for our father. After our mother passed away, he did everything he could to raise us well. He worked hard, provided for us, and always made sure we had what we needed. But there was always something a little off about him. He was a kind man, but he had strict rules. We weren't allowed to enter his room, ever. He would leave late at night, sometimes coming back just before sunrise. If we asked him where he had been, his answers were always vague. And sometimes, late at night, I could hear him whispering to himself. I thought it was just a habit. I told myself I was imagining things. Until last month, when everything changed. Our father was found near a river, and the way he was found, it wasn't normal. There were deep cuts on his back, of the kind that didn't seem natural. And the worst part, his head was missing. The authorities said it was the work of a dangerous criminal, but there was something off about the wounds. Some of them weren't made with knives or weapons. They looked like they had been made with stones. It didn't make sense. But my sister? She wasn't confused. She stared at the report, silent. Then she said, "This wasn't done by a person?" I laughed and told her not to talk like that. But she wasn't joking. She wanted to know what really happened that night. And she had a way to find out. That night, she told me we were going to speak to him. I thought she was joking, but she was serious. She pulled out a board, not a normal board, but one covered in strange symbols I didn't recognize. They were carved deep into the wood, almost as if someone had scratched them in with something sharp. She told me to hold her hands. The moment I did, she started chanting. Soft at first, like a whisper, then louder, stronger. She would pause, then start again, over and over. The air in the room felt heavier. Then the candle went out. The darkness swallowed us whole. Her hands started shaking violently. I could feel the tremors travel up my arms. Then she stopped chanting. Her head snapped up, and when she opened her eyes, they weren't her eyes anymore. They were completely black. She stared at me, her lips curling into a slow, eerie smile. Then she whispered, "You can't escape." And then she collapsed. I wanted to believe it was just exhaustion, that she had pushed herself too far, but in my gut, I knew something was terribly wrong. The next morning, the feeling wouldn't go away. I couldn't ignore it. I needed to know what she had found out. So I went into our father's room. The door creaked as I stepped inside, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. There was a locked drawer in his desk. I had never touched it before, but something told me I needed to see what was inside. I forced it open. Inside was a video recorder. My hands trembled as I pressed play. And what I saw, it shattered everything I thought I knew. The screen flickered, and then I saw them. People, tied up, struggling, crying. And my father, he was standing over them. There was an object in the corner of the room, something carved from stone. It had a face that wasn't human. And he was praying to it. The people were pleading for mercy, but my father ignored them. He continued his ritual, speaking words I didn't understand. Then in the final moments of each recording, the people would stop moving. I dropped the recorder and my breath caught in my throat. The man I loved, the man who had raised me, was a monster. I turned, my whole body trembling, and saw my sister standing in the doorway. She wasn't shocked, she wasn't confused, she already knew. "We need to speak to Father again," she said quietly. That night, she prepared something different. She took a small blade and pressed it lightly against her skin, letting a few drops fall onto the floor. Then she started chanting. This time, I didn't sit with her, I just watched. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. The candle flames shook, even though the air was still. Then, something moved behind her, a dark shape, slowly forming. It was getting closer. I wanted to scream, to warn her, but I couldn't move. I could only watch as it reached out, and then she stopped chanting. Her body lifted into the air, and then her head twisted at an unnatural angle. She collapsed to the floor. The room fell into dead silence. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I ran out of the house and didn't look back. The next morning, the authorities arrived. They ruled it as self-inflicted. They didn't investigate. They didn't question it. They just left. I didn't care. I just wanted to get away from that house. But as I packed my things, I found my sister's journal. I shouldn't have read it, but I did. And that's when I learned the final truth. She had been the one who ended our father's life. She had used something unnatural to do it, because she wasn't really my sister. She had been one of the people he had taken, and she had spent her entire life waiting for revenge. Now I understand. She wasn't trying to talk to our father that night. She was calling something else, something that had been waiting for her. And now, she's gone. I packed my things and left the house forever. But as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still inside that house, watching, waiting for me. Let me know what you think. And if this story gave you chills, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories.